JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 23rd of November 2022. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our jfdbrokers.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. Okay guys, now then, let's jump into the charts. So the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and so far we're not having much activity, well, obviously because the Japanese index is closed today. So the only thing is that why I'm still keeping an eye on this, and I just wanted to quickly refresh everyone's memory. Basically, look, here I'm still watching this 28,282. I'm really liking this level for the upside, but again, let's see which way you're going to break out. But again, for the downside, I'm keeping an eye on this this upside support line taken from the low of the 13th of October, which could also be seen as a lower side of the rising wedge pattern. Now, if that's the case, then of course, yes, we could see more downside, because according to all the TA rules, these tend to break to the downside. However, if we do break the lower side of this potential rising wedge, then my main target will be the 100 and the 200-day EMA. Simple as that. That's in terms of the downside, but still, there is hope that we could go higher, especially if we pop above this 28282 level. Shanghai Composite very quickly on this one. Yeah, this one's open. Yep, we can see that it's still hanging above that 21-day EMA. So the same analysis is valid. Basically, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I talked about this yesterday. If we push and break this downside line, then yes, I'll go a little bit towards the upside, especially if we also pop above the 3,145 level, because at the same time we would climb above the 100-day EMA. For the downside, I just need to see a drop below that 21-day EMA, guys. So, excuse me for going quiet there a little bit. I had to clear up my throat. It's an early morning here for me, so yeah, just kind of I think my body's just waking up. So anyway, ASX 200, guys, very quickly. Boom, beautiful move, 7,177 territory. Look at this beautiful thing here. Look, I talked about this and I said that if we pop above this barrier, then yes, I'll go higher, but initially I'll aim for that 7,269 territory marked by the high of the 31st of May. Well, so far we're on the right track. We're halfway there. Let's see if we can reach that. I will continue targeting that area as long as we stay above this 7,177 territory. If we fall back below it, yeah, we might consider a move towards the downside here, towards the upside line here. But if we clear this upside line, then yes, certainly more sellers could join in, and yeah, we could maybe move towards that 7,000 mark, psychological 7,000 mark. The German index, DAX. Okay, so guys, looking at this picture here, as you can see, we are still flirting with that 14,440 level. Look, I talked about that, and I said that hey, if we will push through it and stay above it, then yes, I'll go higher. Yesterday we moved above it nicely, but we failed to stay above it. And looking at the cash index right now, we are seeing kind of a move back down. We're currently sitting at around 14,450 level, which well, actually we are above this level. Okay, so look, this is going to be quite interesting. We're very close to this area, so I want to see where we're going to open up, because again, at the moment we're seeing a bit of a slide. So if we by some any chance we move and back above this hurdle, above this 14,400 level, I will go higher. I will stick to my game plan, and I will aim for that 14,709 territory marked by the highest point of June. However, if we start falling back below this 14,400 level, then 14,440 level, well, this could kind of lead to maybe some retracement or something like that, especially if we fall below the 14,320 level. That's going to be the level that I'm going to be keeping a close eye on for today, tomorrow, and yeah. Then we will kind of take it from there. We might consider, like I said, a larger correction here to the downside towards this upside line, taken from the low of the 13th of October. Now, long story short, guys, certainly today we might see a lot of volume. In general, today is the day when we'll have a lot of data coming out from especially from the U.S. But I'll get to that point in a bit, just the U.S. indices. But here we might see the European indices reacting to the whole kind of data from the U.S. During that overlap of trading hours, of course. But yeah, be careful here. Let's see how this is going to play out. But these are my levels. I'm still, like I said, keeping an eye on that 14,440 level. If we if we jump back above it and stay above it, then yes, I'll go higher. But if we fall below the 14,320, I will consider maybe a bit of a retracement here towards this, initially towards that 14,150 level, or maybe this upside line. Now, NASDAQ 100. So yesterday, good performance. Yesterday, yep, NASDAQ, I think it was the best performer, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just quickly double check that. Yeah, correct. Yeah, it was the best performer. Actually, almost. S&P 500 was almost close to it. But NASDAQ 100 was the best performer from the top four, let's put it this way, because the NASDAQ composite ended up the day with the same percentage gain as the S&P 500, so at 1.36. Long story short, look, I talked about this and I said to you yesterday that if we get a break, a drop below this 11,519 territory, then yes, I will consider more selling, especially if we also drop below the 21-day EMA. And look at this. I mean, we instead we broke the downside line, and this is what I talked about yesterday as well. I said that if we break this and stay above this, then there is potential for this one to move higher, well, at least towards that 100-day EMA, which is roughly around that 11,880 zone. So, long story short, guys, if you are looking for some higher levels, then certainly keep your eyes on that downside line. As long as we remain above it, there is still potential for this one to move higher. The cash index right now is sitting at around 11,707 or 6, something like that. So basically slightly below yesterday's close, but still above this downside line. So long story short, let me just put this arrow here. I think, yeah, that the previous arrow where, I mean, when it was here, from here, that's my ideal scenario. But let's see if we can squeeze something out of this one. So let's say like this: as long as we stay above this downside line, I will aim for that 100-day EMA, or even maybe for that psychological 12,000 mark. So let's keep an eye on that one. The S&P 500. So also a beautiful move back to the upside. We climbed back above the 3,958 territory right here, and now we are getting closer to that 200-day EMA. So What's next? Look, I mean, I will stick to my game plan. I talked about the 200-day EMA being my more attractive level for the upside. So a break of which, if yeah, could invite more buyers. So yeah, I'm gonna stick to that. And at the moment, I'm just gonna observe that one. If for the downside, I'm gonna take a very conservative approach here. And given that we are moving further away here from further away to the right, I think this area here might become an attractive one. So if we fall below the 3,911 zone right here, we could fall also below this lower side of the rising channel and below all of the EMAs here. Currently this 3,911 zone is coinciding with the 100-day EMA, but hey, let's see how this is going to play out. Of course, look, in general, if we just analyze this little structure here, I mean, we can see that we are. I'm not saying that this is a flag, but it's more of a higher lows and higher highs. So it seems that we're going for one. And in a way, for example, if you're not comfortable with the 200-day EMA, you could keep an eye on this 4,029 territory right here, marked by the current highest point of November. If we clear that, then yes, we could go further north. In general, guys, today be careful with the indices. We do have an eventful day because tomorrow the US is closed. They're celebrating the Thanksgiving. So yep, today we have the some data that's coming out, which comes out normally on Thursdays, like initial jobless claims, continuous jobless claims. So yeah, we also have the new home sales from the US, yeah, and I think, let me just double check, preliminary manufacturing PMI number together with the services PMI also preliminary, Michigan consumer sentiment, and I think, oh, and of course, we have the FOMC meeting minutes, which are coming out later on today. I think it's going to be like around 2 hours before the US closes. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. You might see some volatility. So basically today in general could be a bit of a volatile day. So let's see how it's going to play out, of course. Yeah, we will then tomorrow could be a bit more quiet day in terms of data releases, and let me just double check. Okay, I see. Then Friday as well, they're also like they have an early close, so the US market will be open on Friday, but we'll have an early close. So so keep that in mind as well. So basically it's Europe that's going to be or could be active. So let's see how that's going to play out. But again, sometimes also one thing to consider, sometimes when we have this like market closure, like when the US market especially is closed, we sometimes get something from the political arena, some sort of like activity in the political world, which may drive the market, may drive the futures, and then let's say once the market opens up, it opens up with a huge gap or something like that. So don't be surprised, for example, if we do get something like that. So just kind of it's a little bit of an upstart here. So let's see. Let's see. Of course, that's what I can say. But again, we do have something like that happening. So whenever the market is closed, we do get something coming out from the in politics, and it kind of explodes the market when it opens up. But yeah, guys. So yeah. Today, keep your eyes on the economic calendar. Could be an interesting one. The XY, the dollar index, of course, keep your eyes on the dollar index. That's for sure. Okay, look at this. I mean, my level here, I have to admit, didn't really work out very well as I wanted it to work out. So we've pushed above the 107.68, we stayed above it, and then we reversed back to the downside yesterday. And we stayed below this area. So in a way, that means that, well, there could be some hope maybe for the sellers, I would say. So as long as we stay below this barrier, I will aim for the downside. I'll aim for that 200-day EMA initially, and then we'll take it from there. Jumping into gold, guys, very quickly on gold. So look at this beautiful area here, this 1735 zone. It provided fantastic support. So yeah, now what we can do now, like I think it's time for maybe kind of putting the arrow somewhere around here. And this upside arrow will probably go somewhere around here. Now, although actually I would say I'm not very keen on this 1753 level. It's a bit tricky, so I'm not going to rely purely on it. I'm going to keep an eye on my 200-day EMA here, which actually might be an interesting one right here. Okay, that's quite interesting. So 1759 territory, that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on for the upside. If we pop above it, I'll go higher. For the downside, if we drop below the 1735 territory, I will go a little bit to the downside. Now jumping into silver, similar kind of story-ish, but here I would say I'm keeping an eye on this 200-day EMA straight away. If we fall below it, I'll aim lower. I'll aim for the 21-day EMA initially right here, shown as the yellow line, and then the 100-day EMA. And then I'll maybe end up aiming for this upside line. But again, at this point, like I said, I am just keeping an eye on this 200-day EMA. We're currently oscillating around it. It might not even carry much significance, don't get me wrong, but I need to try to find something here. Some of you, let's say, maybe are not comfortable with this. You might keep an eye on this 21-day EMA, but let's say if you are, let's say, expecting maybe, you know, to go lower from this 21-day EMA, you could do that, but then that means that we are falling below the 200-day EMA. So basically, you could start already earlier, just, you know, have your stop loss in place, and everything will be fine. For the upside here, look, I think I'm going to stick to the same level that I've talked about previously, this 21.62. If we clear that one, then yes, I'll go a little bit more to the upside. WTI oil, beautiful trading so far. However, I'm not doing anything with it because look, I talked about this and I said that if after we've reached my target here, the 76.28, we rebounded and we pushed back up. However, we're still below this short-term tentative downside resistance line taken from the high of the 7th of November. If we continue to trade below it, we could still go lower. However, I would prefer to wait for a drop below that 76.28 in order to go further south. For the upside, a break of this downside line is required. Ethereum, this whole week I'm picking up on Ethereum actually, but it's for me at the moment it seems to be like the most technical because look at this. I mean, we've rebounded nicely from this 1070 territory, so we're moving back down. So basically I talked about this and I said that if we keep your eyes on that level, and if we do break it, then we could go lower. We could go towards that psychological 1000 territory or even towards that 880. For the upside, well, for the upside, now this is where I will try to please those short-term traders, and something like this. Something like this you could keep an eye on. If we break this, then we could potentially go a little bit more towards the upside. However, some of you might say, hey, maybe this is a descending triangle pattern. Yes, could be. However, for that we don't really have some beautiful trading here, so we kind of have a bit of a gap here, so it's not really picture perfect descending triangle. So that's why I'm kind of skeptical on that one, and it's like 50-50. But yeah, if we still break this downside line, let's call it the upper side of this potential triangle pattern, descending triangle pattern, then yes, I will consider maybe a move towards that 21-day EMA or even this 1350 level. Now, jumping into a few pairs, AUD, JPY. I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, as you can see. Look, I think I need to get rid of some of these lines here and kind of start fresh. But one thing I wanted to show you and kind of point out that, look, we are currently oscillating around the 21-day and the 100-day EMA. So those two are kind of coinciding, and we are moving around it. The 200-day EMA, after we rebounded from it, we pushed back up and kind of we struggled to stay below that 200-day EMA. Last time we were below the 200-day EMA was back in January of this year. So yeah, we were trading for a few days here. And then we moved nicely to the upside. Now, excuse me. Now, looking at this picture here, what can we expect? Now, first things first is, of course, you can see that we are coiling up. So we are getting into a bit of a squeeze, and let's say, let me just put this. So something like this, I think it's currently visible. It's not ideal, don't get me wrong. Don't focus on this way too much, but just keep that in mind. So look, we could be getting into a bit of a squeeze, so maybe I'll just keep that for now, and wait until we get a clear breakout. If we do get a breakout to the upside here through this downside line, I will go higher, but I will keep an eye on the highest point of October here near the 95.74. Now, this is the problem because it's not a huge distance here, but hey, I'll rather be safe than sorry, because let's say if it pushes, through this downside line, travels higher, gets a hold up somewhere near this 95.74, and then reverses back down, well, that's basically, we could be seeing something or maybe of an ascending triangle. Maybe it will go a little bit lower, then rebound and then push to the upside. So let's again go slowly. If it breaks the 95.74 territory straight away, great, that's wonderful. We can go, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high, and more buyers could join in, and then we could start potentially targeting this level right here, the highest point of September of this year. So yeah, near the 98.69 level. But again, let's see what's going to happen here. At the moment, I'm watching this, and here, for example, for the downside, yeah, if we break this upside line, look, then we'll have the next obstacle right here, the low of the, I think it is the lowest point of November. Yep, that's correct. The current lowest point of November, near the 92.61. If that gets cleared, then we are aiming for the 200-day EMA. Simple and obvious. In AUD NZD, I mean, look at this. I just cannot get enough of this pair. I mean, yes, it had a bit of a roller coaster ride yesterday here. It kind of popped back up, but at the end of the day, it still worked out. And look at this, 1.0755. I mean, talk about technicals here. Talk about levels getting hit precisely. So what's next? Well, the trend is still to the downside, and in a way we should be aiming lower. However, given that we have already quite decently moved to the downside, I will wait for a drop below this 1.0755. My ideal scenario is towards this 1.0612. However, I do understand that we have moved already quite decently to the downside, so that's why my next target will be somewhere around here, the low of the 22nd of March, and that's near the 1.0694. Let me just adjust this arrow here a little bit, so that's going to be, like I said, this is going to be my target. Initially, ideally, I'm aiming for this one, the lowest point of March, but I do, like I said, I understand that we had moved already quite a lot, and maybe a bit of a retracement here could be possible, but at this point, in terms of the upside, I will stick to this level the 1.0883. If we pop above it, then yes, we'll pop above this downside line. We might pop above the 21-day EMA, and yeah, potentially this could lead to some higher levels. NZD CHF. So, of course, yesterday I talked about this, and look, I mean, I've talked about the RBNZ, the Central Bank of New Zealand. Now, today we received a statement, the interest rate decision. It came out as expected at 4.25, basically a 75 basis point rise, and I think that was the highest one that they've ever done, or should I say, the biggest one at once. So yeah, quite a substantial move here. Look. Of course, they're all kind of following the Fed, doing the same thing and over. It's like, I think it's like the Fed gives a, prints out the skeleton, prints out a template, and everybody just adjusts their policy to it. So either way, guys, I mean, look, the picture here, it's quite positive, I would say, because look, I mean, we are kind of trying to make our way higher, and to be honest, after yesterday's kind of jumping around here, straight away the song is in my head. We failed to move below the 0.5834, and we pushed back up, and we are now breaking this downside line. We're currently above it. We were a bit higher above it. We were a bit higher above this downside line, but yeah, we are now aiming for some further upside. Look, in order to go higher, I would say I need to see a nice, good push above the 0.5902, something like that, or in general about the 0.59 level. If we climb above it, my next target is the 200-day EMA right here. At the moment, I'm already quite bullish, to be honest. I think that this could be an interesting one. But let's wait and see, guys. I mean, let's wait and see. And the moment, I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside. However, if we start falling back below the 0.5834, well, I mean, maybe we could scrap the upside scenario for now. USD JPY very quickly on this one. So this one's still there where it is. I mean, it's not really the most exciting one right now, and look, I said before that in order to go lower, I just need a drop below the 137.67. For the upside, I need to see a break of this downside line, and then I'll aim for my favorite level. I mean, you're probably already tired of me talking about this one. But to be honest, I think I'm going to say this in every seminar, webinar that I'm going to be doing. This 147.65, highest point of 1998, yeah, on my chart here. And yeah, if we do push through this downside line, that's going to be my next target. For the downside, I just need to see a drop below the 137.67, and then I'll aim for that 200-day EMA. USD CAD. Yesterday we got the Canadian numbers. Canadian retail sales numbers. Those came out like expected. Retail sales month on month as expected, minus 0.5. Core retail sales dropped a little, but manufacturing sales, preliminary number, actually gave a nice surprise. So the expectation was a 0.2, came out at 2. So yeah, we saw a bit of strength in the Canadian dollar here, and of course the little bit of weakness in the dollar itself also helped this pair to move back down. So yeah, look, I don't really like where it is right now, and I'm just observing the price action. And I said before that if we do pop above the 21-day EMA, I'll go higher. I'll go to this downside line taken from the high of the 13th of October. If we fall below the 1.3308, I will go lower, because we would, at the same time, we would fall below the 100-day EMA. GBP USD, haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but look, I mean, the same thing is still happening here. Basically, we are, we're still trading within this potential rising wedge pattern, which, yeah, if we continue to trade within it, then there is, the trend is to the upside. However, as we know, rising wedges tend to break to the downside, but we need the confirmation break, so we cannot do anything until we get a break through this lower side of this potential rising wedge. So yeah, we're kind of stuck. So if you're, if you like to trade GBP USD, I think that at this point it's a little bit tricky. But hey, you'll be the judge. You know yourselves better. So just promise me that you'll have a stop loss in place. GBP CAD, another rising wedge. Look at this. I mean, this seems to be quite nice, quite elegant, quite sharp. Again, it's the same story. As long as we remain within it, there could be still potential for the upside. Once we start breaking the lower side of it, this is where I'll consider a move lower. EURUSD, guys. So mission accomplished. Actually, I've reached my target, the 200-day EMA. Great. Within this falling channel, we were drifting lower, and I said that look, if we continue to struggle to overcome the upper side of this falling channel, then yeah, I mean, my next target is the 200-day EMA. We've reached that. Great. The only problem I have with this falling channel is that it's not very attractive. Like, I mean, we had a bit of violation here, but hey, nothing's perfect in life. So like that's why at the moment I will stick to the downside, especially if we fall below the 200-day EMA. So long story short, that's going to be my game plan. If we do drop below this 200-day EMA, I will go lower towards the lower side of this falling channel. For the upside, I need to see actually a push above the 21-day EMA, because so far that's providing good resistance. euro against the Mexican peso. So I do look at these sometimes. I mean, I do like to look at these exotic pairs, especially when they're providing me some sort of like a beautiful pattern or something like that. And look at this. I mean, this for me looks a little bit more bullish than bearish. However, a breakout is still needed. If we do get a nice pop here above this barrier, this 20.22, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high. We would be above the 100-day EMA as well, and the next target here could be that 200-day EMA. So pretty straightforward right there. For the downside, I just need to see a drop, well, not only below this 19.89 territory, but also below the 21-day EMA, and then I will consider a bit of a move to the downside. And finally, EURUSD, guys. So this one's also very interesting. It seems to be like forming a bullish flag, but I will stick to my rules. Look, I talked about this idea yesterday as well. I said that given that we fell below the 1.0271, I will aim lower, and if we continue to trade below it, then yes, my next target is the 21-day and the 100-day EMAs. But as you can see, we climbed back above this hurdle, and this is where you need to stop with this idea of the downside, because if we continue to trade above this 1.0271, then yes, we can ignore the whole downside scenario. Now we need to shift our view here for the downside from here, from this level, I think, because 1.0222, a nice good drop below this, yeah, may now open the door towards lower levels. So yeah, again, this level kind of was working initially, now it's not working. We have to redo this, we have to redraw it. So yeah, it's always like this, unfortunately, guys. And then, like I said, in terms of the upside, I will stick to the same rule, my rule that I need to see a nice good push above the 200-day EMA, and then I'll go towards the 1.0615 level right there. But again, only if we stay above the 200-day EMA. Because we can get like a false breakout here, and you know, it could like fall off the cliff then. So yeah, just like I said, wait for it, and wait for this one to give us a better signal or something like that. But at this point right now, where it is, I'm just observing the price action, guys. So, so yeah, that's it for this session, guys. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, your views, your likes, your comments, everything, guys. So, yeah, if you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 7 o'clock GMT time. Yes, it might not be the most exciting trading day tomorrow, but hey, still, we have the ECB coming out, I think. Let me just double check that. Where is that? Thursday. Thursday's calendar. Yeah, I think we have the ECB publishes account of monetary policy. So yeah, that would be quite interesting. We don't have much data in general coming out, even from Europe. Just the German IFO business climate. So it could be an interesting one for the DAX. But yeah, and also yeah, if you like to trade the Turkish lira against the euro or dollar or anything else, we do have the the 1 week repo rate coming out. That's going to be quite interesting. I mean, there is an expectation for a decline, and I think it might happen. So yeah, so let's see how all this is going to play out. Anyway, long story short, guys, see you tomorrow, and bye bye.